Hello, postmasters and claimants and patrons. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. And I want you to know that I did not sit idly by on my vacation. To go on my vacation, I syntaxed the guidelines for NATO travel, as well as the travel guides for the U.S. military, and I put performance contracts in on a muster roll for the security of the homeland as I left, because as owner of the Title IV, Section 1, 2, and 3 flag, as a flag speaker, I had to give a porting and posting of my navigations. And so I syntaxed the guidelines for which I did in 2019, but I posted it on this vessel for registration of a foreign -gent. They would call it registration of a foreign agent. The guidelines and how to apply for that for the former United States, I had that syntaxed on the vessel, as well as many documentations for the European war theater for the U.S. military, U.S. Pentagon, and a muster roll was put together with many musters, including sealed letters of the value for me as the general director of the Vatican City banking. That letter of the value was on the voyage as well, because I was going to Europe, which keymaster mechanics are hidden in plain sight if you know what you're looking at over there. So gave closure on that to the U.S. military, as well as NATO, as well as U.S. Customs and Homeland Security. And I did something a little different this time. I put a mirror treaty on my vessel paperwork itself, which was a little bit different. So I did a few mechanical things that and posted that around the world, as well as the Vatican, NATO, and Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon, and put some plans together on how to keep the air, land, sea safe from foreign invasions as the flag left the country, and filed that around the world at the necessary places just to get over to the workshop. So that was a pretty busy 2 weeks prior to the workshop, and a very large packet that went out. I also filed the stamp treaty and the coin, my coin, with one of the locations for proving my position, because I was going over to the International Bank of Settlements after the workshop, but the workshop itself went I felt it was one of my best workshops. I went slow. I had to go slow due to the differences in languages and the translation from what I was saying to how people were writing words down on their notes. So I went slower. The translation part on grammar was very humbling, and everyone learned a lot, so I was very thankful for that. And the questions that the postmasters and claimants in Europe were asking were great questions. Some of them had spent a lot of study time on me and had really in-depth questions, and so that was fun. I really valued my time with them. The main function of a mirror-treaty is to look through your vortex first, so you don't have to look through their vortex, being the digital ID that they thrust upon the citizens globally. And so once things were identified in a correct way, we didn't have to participate with any of that as we navigated ourselves with the mirror-treaty. So the main function is to come through our mirror, or my world, before I go into look into their digital biometric scanning mechanics, which I didn't have to do, so that was good. Learned a lot about myself. I'm still a pretty good banker, pretty good postmaster. Met wonderful people over there, but the International Bank of Settlement, I misspoke. People said that I was meniscus treaty. It was an amicus-curve is what I filed at the International Bank of Settlements. and I had Syntex on board that vessel. Was their charter to exist was Syntex, being 100% fraud, as well as any movement of digital currencies with fictitious grammar was identified on the vessel. In the charters of the former International Bank of Settlements, which is the headquarters for central banking on planet Earth, I came in with the evidence as a friend to stop and correct, not as an enemy combatant, but more as a neutral. So that was interesting. There were no flags flying at the International Bank of Settlements, so that was good because the Title IV flag was the only thing flying on paperwork, so that was good. And a number of other things that I don't really want to get into on the paperwork at the Bank of Settlements at this moment because timelines are curing and I have liable contracts in there and there's a number of things going on. So overall, I was really happy with the quality of work that I was able to put on the platform, on the Minsk-Curve treaty. I was really trying to came from a position where moved into divine space banking paradigm on the paperwork itself, which was quite fascinating. So I kept the Earth space banking going within the quantum paradigm so that the claimants don't have to participate with structural flaws of the banking systems globally, where the central banking systems for each country were placed in a liable position for stopping and correcting the fraudulent grammar that they're using. So that was quite interesting as well. But the temperament of the people, the culture in Germany and Switzerland was very positive. Though some of the people are quite naive about what's going on in the world, they made up for things in a lot of the small things that I witnessed. One of the most fascinating things was what I witnessed, nobody took a cell phone or was on a phone when they were at dinner. Everybody was quite animated and holding good conversations with the people they went to dinner with, and nobody had their cell phones out. The whole trip, it was quite fascinating to see that everywhere I went, every restaurant I went to, it was the same phenomenon where people were really putting value in their conversations at the dinner table. And I found that to be quite refreshing, quite new. I don't see that in the States. A lot of times when you go out to eat, people are on the phone or have their cell phones on the table. I just didn't see any of that over in Europe, so that was really, really cool. The people were very animated, and the economies over there, though I don't hang out in the cities, but the economies seem to be a lot more vibrant, a lot more people on the street, very active. Saw a lot of fascinating things. One of the things I really also liked was the elders, the older people in Europe. They were quite active. They were walking down the street. They were a little bit more active than what I've seen elders over here in the States. So that was really cool. Yeah, it was just a very humbling experience. You know, I learned what I didn't know, which is really great, you know, that I have a lot more to learn. And so I take good value on all the hard work. And, you know, the people were a little naive as far as what's going on in the world. But once they logically would say things, they could prove to themselves that things were a little worse off than they thought. The people themselves don't have any problem with the Americans. They have a problem with the fictitious government of the Americans constantly going to war. So there was a lot of negativity towards the American government itself from the different people and cultures within Europe, but that's not my fault. And so they were cool with, you know, what I've done as far as stopping and correcting. But it was really good. I really, you know, really learned a lot, and I have a lot more to learn. It just shows me that there's a lot more to do. But things are in place at the International Bank of Settlements that will definitely help. The stamp treaties really kick ass. That thing really works nice. So had all the quantum stamps on the contracts, and that was cool. I was happy about that, as well as, you know, quantum coins going in there. So it was good. It was good. I did a chronological hyphen treaty built in within the construct as well, which were the timelines. If you go to the workshop and you see me talk about the timelines of setting up the digital currencies and the crypto currencies with Blackguard Seigniorage in 2001, how I built all that and published that, so that was all in there. As well as the International Bank of Settlements enters special drawing rights with the International Monetary Fund, and the International Monetary Fund was their charters were disqualified by me in 2001. January specifically when I was at the IMF in Washington, D.C., so that was also built into the chronological treaty, which was pretty cool. So this will give a different function of quantum grammar for central banking systems as the claimants learn how to become their own central banking systems. It'll be part of the buoy system to where you can create your own things when you need to, when your knowledge is there. So that's pretty cool. Getting ready right now. I'm putting contracts together, starting to put contracts together to go to Australia. And this is my next thing that I'm putting together. Very similar to what I did for going over to Europe. It's a little different to go to Australia because the sea lanes are just a little bit different. But things will be put together in a little different fashion. But I'm really taking. I like adding the mirror-treaty actually and putting a mirror on the page itself. So that's it's a new twist on things. It worked quite nice as far as getting around through customs and stuff. So I was happy about that. No problems there. But Australia, I'm really looking forward to going down there. We're going to be doing on Saturday. We're going to be doing a special thing for the Australian people. Those who are from Australia at the workshop get a chance to put a flag treaty together for the Australian country of Australia, which will be quite fascinating, where they get to be flag bearers and learn how to be flag speakers of their own flag. There was one flag, the People's Flag, that we did not file on when Australia came out of bankruptcy in 2019. It is something we didn't have enough people at the time. When I was down there in 2019, pre-COVID, nobody really cared in the world about what was going on. So much different world in 2019 to 2025, for sure. So the Australian people are going to get to learn how to put a flag treaty together from syntaxing their old flag laws that some of the claimants from over there are bringing, so we can take a look at their forensics, and restructuring in a way that's favorable towards the people. So I'm very excited about that. The workshop itself will have AI stuff as well as market trade port and some syntaxing. I like to add syntaxing within each workshop and just show the math certifications, as well as the quantum stamp treaty for quantum bank authorizations for the Australian people. So that'll be, or the people that show up. I think that we're getting actually people from all over the world to show up. That was really cool about what's happened in Germany, is we had one person that's been to most of the workshops here in the States, in Arizona and Utah, and one guy that had been there from Canada, and so they got to see a real different perspective from me and a different teaching style, as well as looking at the grammar and how it's, the people's capacity to use it in other languages is a very valuable tool within the quantum banking system. And as the world learns how to communicate and puts their needs and puts all the things that they want in a factual construct on paperwork, it will certainly change the paradigm of people's perspective of what I've built. Right now, the people's perspective is being bombarded with social engineering of algorithms to create division and hatred, but I'm seeing a lot of claimants come together and hold the space for light and love and kindness to their fellow mankind with transparency and grammar. So I'm real happy about that. So these are some of the things that I've been up to. I know that so the International Bank of Settlements is the holding umbrella hub for all the central banks in the world, 95% of the world's central banking systems. And they, in the first three articles, I can't remember, of their charter, which is fraudulently syntax because it's violated Title 18 1001 fictitious grammar, creating a mail fraud situation for bank fraud, Title 18 1342 mail fraud, and Title 18 1343 wire fraud, because they're using electronic means for the advertisement of their bank scam, Ponzi scheme that they have going on against the central banking systems of planet Earth. But the International Bank of Settlements entered the special drawing rights of the International Monetary Fund for $3 million to help fund and divide what their values of their shares were for their private enterprise. And so, because the International Monetary Fund's charters have been syntaxed and rewrote by me in 2001, gave me a clear path to put the global-monetary-fund with our coin value and position to turn the system there. So it's pretty cool, I'm reading questions here. No, you prosecute yourself to perform with correct grammar, and there's certain technology I don't give away about how to go about things that you're observing. I'll just leave it at that. Do I see any bad actors being rounded up? I certainly do not see any bad actors being rounded up. I see a lot of bad people in position right now that are holding that space. They've held the perception of the general public for a long time, so at this time I do not see any bad actors being rounded up. In fact, I see a lot of the civilian sector being killed off right now. The vaccines are starting to really kick in, and we're starting to see a lot more funerals and a lot more deaths. So I see the death agenda moving forward quite quickly, and it's sad to watch. I'm not happy about it. I'm holding space for the claimants out here, the 1%ers that are going to get through here. I hate to talk in those terms, but sadly we're not being reporting on the consequences of taking the genetic experimental tools, drugs that they try to inflict upon the general public is starting to have its consequences show up right now. And I'm starting to see pretty much everywhere a lot of the elderly people and a lot of the younger kids having all kinds of problems. So, it is what it is. I'm seeing, I'm not seeing until that happens and we get those entities out of the way, and then we can deal with whatever's left as far as taking the bad actors out of the way. But right now I'm certainly not seeing, I'm seeing the fiction thrive, stick it right in your face and say, hey, we're going to do what we want when we want. What are you going to do about it? That's just their perspective. That's just the way they want to roll. So it sucks, but on the flip side, and there is a good side to this, I'm seeing the quantum grammar field be strong. I'm seeing us hold our neutral space and create our neutral safe havens for neutrality. I'm seeing that in phenomenally great shape. That's real positive. I'm seeing the quantum venue thrive, those who are learning how to use the technologies. Right now the finances are not quite in position yet, but they will be as far as the timelines and what's going on for you guys, but the buoy system. But it is happening very quick here. So very shortly, that's coming into place, and I'm getting in a position where I can actually maybe start to work again here pretty soon, so that will change things as well. Unfortunately, it's been decades and decades of bad actors that have been in place for our whole lives, most of us, and we are dealing with the consequences, not so much of governments, but of the lust, vanity, of greed, here in the form of the United States, of corporations that have made choices over the last few decades to outsource their manufacturing jobs out of the country for the profit. And right now it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to kick off a bunch of manufacturing in the United States, because the economic infrastructure to create manufacturing systems is not in place. And unfortunately, the U.S. military does not want to use technologies to speed this up for the people. In fact, they're doing everything they can right now to suppress certain technologies. And I see in my field, because I know a lot of chemists from a lot of different backgrounds that have all their funding has been jammed up, and most of the jamming up is done by the Chinese government. And so they're jamming up people's capacities to get funding for manufacturing, not what we call rare earths. The fiction would call it rare earths. They're not rare earths. They're everywhere, right? This is all BS. But the Chinese have been behind the scenes making sure the money transactions haven't been flowing to the banks to turn certain people off with skill sets to actually make a difference for we the people. So you see that being exposed a little more, so that's quite fascinating for me to watch because I know those people, so that's cool. Will I hold another Pillars? Pillars is a whole other animal. Yeah, I do, but I do charge for that tech because what's it worth to you to go on vacation from all that nonsense? I put a value on it because I know what it cost me. So, you want me to talk about Operation Toilet Flush? I see a lot of bad actors out here, don't worry. This is a system that I don't have to police. It will police itself once certain people have closure, and the chronological treaties have been put in place. A lot of the thieves out here, they've come in since, 2018, 2014 maybe, and the systems were completed in 2012. And so a lot of these people, especially, I haven't released the galactic-postal-corporation stuff yet. I am going to be doing that here very shortly. That's some of the tech that will be coming out. When you come to the workshop, you learn about the 3 different paradigms of the quantum banking system. So that will be coming out here quite shortly. Let's see. When I find out whether the Romania, look in the postal records on that Romania question. It'll be in the postal records, and it will be around World War II. The ending of World War II is where you're going to find that. All courts are clown circus courts because they're written in fictitious grammar. Yes, I would like to do another Pillars workshop. I'm not sure when I will do that. I don't know. I might do it in a neutral. I kind of really enjoy doing it in more of a neutral spot if I do the Pillars for sure. Oh yeah, Chief offering private consultations. I'm not offering a lot of private ones right now. Right now I'm placing a extreme high value on my time right now. My time's worth more than to me because I'm looking at the macro, a big picture thing that I'm working on right now. And so my time, if you get my time right now, definitely, I put value in my time. I'll just say that. So I'm not really handing out a lot of private consultations at the moment. Why the White House raised flags on your 22nd anniversary of the Vatican City performance June 18th. I do not know why they raised the flags. They're part of those secret society sects. I don't believe in any of that stuff. And Syntax, most of the umbrella corporation context of secret societies as well as oaths. And so a lot of the things that I did between 2001 to 2010. So a lot of the things that I was given access to were syntaxed. I did not want to rewrite something that was negative. I just wanted to call it just a void in the a vacuum in the vortex is what I called it. So as far as the flags being up on my 22nd anniversary of my performances at the Vatican, yes, that is, I did do things. They concurred with things. I don't like them. They don't like me. It's an actual thing. But I do have contracts to do what I'm doing, and they're done in a mannerism that is what we call very bold, very Dodd, very in your face. But do it from a very neutral and meek position, and I'm constantly finding out what I don't know and stopping and correcting and trying to make the best chance possible for mankind. I'm just going through questions here, guys. So fiction doesn't have to comply with anything. How they use everything against you is everything is grammar, and because the grammar says nothing and means nothing to them, they can put anything down they want, and they can make it mean whatever they want, and they can do whatever they want to you. Because everything is syntax. Everything in our life is built around the vacuum of syntax, the silence of syntax. Before there was syntax, what was there? Get it? Yeah, they're clowns for sure at the Vatican. There's no doubt about it. Pedophile clowns. Every interaction you have with anything with the AI chat forms, write them in quantum grammar, stay on point, syntax them. Syntax the AI systems. So yeah, the Syntaxer course is coming up on step 7. That's what's coming up. And it's a good foundation course. It teaches a little bit different than the Syntax Learning Center. It teaches more numbers and patterns, associations, and numbers. Less to do with adverb lists, but more with numbers. So anyway, guys, I think we're good here. But I will be in touch. Thank you guys so much for everything you do, and hope you enjoyed this call. A lot of little things here, odds and ends, but definitely the world is changing. I'm seeing the syntaxers really hold their space in the now space. Unfortunately, I am seeing a lot, what I'm witnessing, people are dying. Or they're going to surgery for some stupid small stuff because they've had the vax, and it just gets worse and worse. It's the beginning of the end. So, blessings, guys. Appreciate everything.